Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to another reading. We are continuing Wallace D. Wattles, The Science of Getting Rich. We're on chapter 8, Thinking in the Certain Way. Thinking in the Certain Way. As you can remember on the previous readings, which are available in the playlist on my YouTube channel, Wallace D. Wattles keeps saying, you have to think in a certain way. You have to think in a certain way. And like, it drove me crazy at first when I started reading this book. I was like, okay, what's the certain way that I have to think to really create riches in my life? He's talking about the science of getting rich, that there is a formula, there is a certain way of doing things. And we are finally at the chapter, how to do things in the certain way. Chapter 8, The Science of Getting Rich. Turn back to chapter 6. Reread the story of the man who formed a mental image of his house, and you will get a fair idea of the initial step toward getting rich. If you recall, chapter 6 was how riches come to you. All right. So watch that reading that we did on chapter 6. Again, all of the previous readings are in the playlists on the YouTubes. So turn back to chapter 6. Reread the story of the man who formed the mental image of his house, and you will get a fair idea of the initial step toward getting rich. You must form a clear and definite mental picture of what you want. You cannot transmit an idea unless you have it yourself. What do you want? When we're younger, when we're children, when we just unabashedly use our imagination, our imaging faculty, our higher faculty of imagination, we see pictures on the screen of our mind. We think in images. When we use our imagination, we start thinking of things that we want, and we put pictures on the screen of our mind. So when we want something, what is it that you want? What do I want? What do I want when it comes to my health? When it comes to my wealth, my finances, my money situation? What do I want when it comes to my relationships, both romantic, familial, friendships? What do I want when it comes to my job, my career, my calling, my purpose? How do I want to feel? What does that look like in my mind? I have to have a clear mental image because that is how things are formed. That is how substance, energy, comes into manifested form in the 3D world. There is nothing that's manifested here that was not first a thought. Some people believe that this universe was a thought of God. God created this universe. God created the world. God thought the world. God created the world through his thoughts, all this stuff, right? That's why we have trees, rivers, oceans, all that stuff. Humans, animals, plants, trees. But the things that human beings create, iPhones, microphones, computers, mice for your computer, candles, mirrors, yeah, post-it notes. They were first a thought in someone's mind. They imagined it. They conceived of it. Then they got emotionally involved. Why did they want to do that? Why did they want that? And then they brought it into physical form through the actions that they took. So every single thing in this physical universe was first a thought. And if you want to create things in this physical universe, in your 3D experience of life, materialize, manifest, something that's just an idea, the life we want to live, we must first think it. But Wallace D. Wattles is taking it to another level. He's telling us to use our imagination to picture, just like that man did when he said, well, I would like a new fireplace. I would like a new furnace to keep my house warm. I would like a nice window in the corner. I would like a nice rug for the floor. So he followed the steps and it came to be. He focused on it. And then that's when the reticular activating system starts to show us opportunities or ways that we can get it that we weren't previously attuned to because we did not hold that picture on the screen of our mind. So just try it out. What's something that you want? Start small. As Abraham Hicks says, be general at first. Do something that you can believe in. Like, I want a bouquet of flowers. I want to attract a bouquet of flowers. It might be you ending up at the perfect shop buying yourself a bouquet of flowers, but you picture your island or your counter or your bedroom desk or whatever, and you're like, I just want a fresh red or white bouquet of roses. And you think about it, I would love it. Who cares how it comes to you? And you can play with that too. Like, I want someone to give me flowers, or I just want flowers. Usually, we don't think of ourselves that is a manifestation. Like, how many times you want ice cream, or like you want a certain like treat of a restaurant, and you go, I want it, I'm gonna go get it, and you just make it happen, and then it's in front of your face going into your mouth. It's like, that is a perfect sign, and there's no barriers, there's no like doubt that we can go and do that if we have the money, right? But I'm just using that as an example. Pick something small, like a bouquet of flowers or whatever it is for you, and focus on that. Do you want a nice like cover, like a duvet cover, or I love a good fresh like comforter set for my bed, like just to refresh and have a new look or feel in my room, just change the energy up. New bath mats, a new shower curtain, like a new set of towels. Like, what do you want? A new toothbrush holder? What's something that you want? A new haircut? A new way of doing your makeup? Just notice. Picture it in your mind. Hold it on the screen of your mind. And that's what he's saying for us to do. Because if we do not tell our subconscious mind, because our subconscious mind speaks in images and in emotion, if we do not speak to our subconscious mind in the language that it speaks, how is it going to know what actions to take to motivate us, to give us the thoughts and the inspirations and the hunches, our sixth sense, to communicate what we want and bring it to us in our experience? So you must form a clear and definite mental picture of what you want. You cannot transmit an idea unless you have it yourself first in your mind. You must have it before you can give it. You must have it before you can give it. And many people fail to impress the thinking substance because they have themselves only a vague and misty concept of the things they want to become or do or have. We are taught to be ashamed. I definitely felt really guilty for wanting things like, oh my gosh, I'm so blessed. I'm so lucky. I have my family and I'm healthy, and, I've had opportunity and I've been privileged. Who am I to want more? I feel really guilty about that. So I don't even let myself dream or go there. Like, what is that about? You know, what in the guilt consciousness that has been impressed upon me? So many people fail to impress the thinking substance because they have themselves only a vague and misty concept, or no concept at all, of the thing they want to become, to do, or to have. It is not enough that you should have a general desire for wealth to do good with. Everybody has that desire. It's just like that vague desire of, I just want to be happy. Okay. Happy is very different, means different things to different people. And wealth, we're talking about money here. I just want to be rich. I just want to have a lot of money to do good things with. Let's be specific. What do you want? Like, I have a friend who is starting a sanctuary for animals. She needs money. She wants money to invest in building this business, this sanctuary. And she wants that money to build the sanctuary, get all the supplies she needs, and put the business into action, into plan. That's very specific. And she knows the exact amount that she needs to get started and what she's going to do with it. So it's not enough to say that you wish in general to be wealthy and just to do good with. Everybody has that desire. It is not enough that you should have a wish to travel, see things, live more, etc. Everybody has those desires. Also, I just want to travel. Where do you want to go? And why? Any answer is right, but just know what it is for you. Like, I want to try all the food around the world. I want to smell different, you know, atmospheres. I want to hear different music. I want to be exposed to different languages. I want to learn a new language. I want to talk and meet with people that are from different backgrounds and beliefs. I want to, whatever it is, be in different climates. But why do you want to travel? Where do you want to travel? And how's it going to feel? Like, get specific. So again, it's not enough that you just wish for these things. Everybody has desires to do these things. If you were going to send a telegram message to a friend, you would not send the letters of the alphabet in their order and let him construct the message for himself. That is hilarious. So if you were going to send a telegram overseas back in the day, or let's just say a text in our common present day. If I'm going to send a text to my sister and say, hey, I'll be there in 5 minutes, I'm not going to send the alphabet from A to Z and just send that and let her decipher what I'm trying to say. That's like what we're doing with our subconscious mind. That's what our prayers that go out to the universe, to God. When we ask, when we're knocking on that door and we're asking, ask and, or knock and the door shall be open, seek and you shall find. Like, ask and the answer will be given to you. But we're not even asking. So it's not enough that you should have a wish. If you were to send a text message to a friend, you wouldn't send the whole alphabet in the order A, B, C, D, E, F, G, all the way to Z, and let them construct a message for themselves. Nor would you take words at random from the dictionary. So it's like, hey, I really want to have a conversation with you, and you throw a dictionary. Well, all the words I want to say are in there. Come on. This is a very silly example, but it's such a good one. You would send a coherent sentence, one which meant something. You would try to impress your wishes upon the thinking substance. Let me read that again. So you wouldn't take words at random from the dictionary. You would send a coherent sentence, one which meant something. When you try to impress your wishes upon the thinking substance, remember that it must be done with a coherent statement. You must know what you want and be definite. Don't be afraid to be definite. Sometimes we're even afraid to say it out loud. There's been so many times when, we've been at seminars or, group things or, masterminds, and what do you really want? And you write it down, you write it really small and you hide it with your hand because you don't want anybody to see it. You hide your journals because you were like so embarrassed if anybody saw what you thought or what you truly wanted. You're like, oh my God, who do I think I am? Or what if I fail? And I wrote it down, how embarrassing. Like, let's get over that. You must know what you want and be definite. You can never get rich or ignite the creative power into action by sending out uninformed longings and vague desires. Unformed. So you can never get rich or ignite the creative power. You can never manifest anything in this universe, in your life, by sending out unformed longings and vague desires. Go over your desires just as the man I had described went over his house. Let's go back here. It says above what we just read. You'll never achieve anything. You'll never get rich by sending out in your mind and focusing on unformed longings and vague desires. This is the truth. When it comes to what we truly want, we rarely have a definite, focused, specific ask sentence. That's why even Napoleon Hill says only 2 out of every 100 people know what they want and have it written down specifically in a statement, a goal statement. And that book was written almost 100 years ago, and it still rings true today. Heck, maybe it's even less, maybe only 1 out of 100 these days. But we see that all the time. There's only 2% of, the cream of the crop, the top of, the best in their class, in their status. 2% of people have all the wealth in the world. 2% of people have all the, status and the power in the world. Why is that? And who's that? I don't know who said it, but I hear the quote all the time. If you were to take all the wealth in the world and distribute it evenly, if someone were to come in and say, you know what, this isn't fair, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, blah, blah, whoever, Bill Gates, you shouldn't have all these billions of dollars. That's just unfair. And we've talked a lot about that. You spread it out across all of the world evenly to everybody. It would only be a matter of time. I think they said within 5 years or even less, all of the wealth would be back to those people because you think in a certain way. And certain people who remain in poverty and who remain illiterate when it comes to finances or how to manage their money in a way that is conducive to getting returns, just smart investments. We're not taught that. Those people will squander their money and pay for the things and give it to the people who run the businesses. They would have it. It would go back to the same, basically. I'll have to find that quote. If you guys know it, put it in the chat. All right. Oh, but my point is that we are not taught to be specific. But when it comes to things we're fearful of, when it comes to things that bother us, when it comes to things that trigger us, when it comes to things that we are just so frightened of, we're so specific. And we keep those images. It's like watching a train wreck. We can't take our eyes off of it. We are focused on what we don't want. Carla, focus on what you want. But what about this? I think if I keep my eye on what I don't want and what scares me, I'm like in some way controlling it. So it's not going to get me. It's the whole analogy of like, if you are on a motorcycle If you've ever ridden a motorcycle and there's like the steering wheel, wherever you're holding the steering wheel, say there's a headlight, wherever that your steering wheel is focused, is where you're going to end up. And so if you are afraid of running into the tree that's in front of you, you are going to run into the tree if you keep your eye on it. You have to keep your eye on the road, not on the tree. So you can't keep your eyes on what you don't want. You have to, and that's a perfect metaphor. I use this all the time in a lot of my videos. When I was trying to get my motorcycle's license, and there was, if you've ever done that, there's cones and you have to like bob and weave through the cones. Well, you know what? I think I did good on that. It was just on the day that I had to like get the license. It was a rainy day and we had to go and then put on the brakes and not skid or not, but like it was unfair. Let's just say that. I skid because the gravel was wet, but still, I guess that's good because it rains at times, and you had to make sure that you could safely, but I don't know. I was really scared and I just like dropped the bike. Anyways, they were training little, they weren't like big old Harleys or anything, but I remember thinking, I think the instructor told me like, focus on where you want to go when it comes to bobbing and weaving through the cones. Don't look at the cones. If you look at the cones, you're going to hit the cones because wherever you're looking is where the bike's going to go. So he said, look at the space between the cones because that's where you want the bike to go. And so it's just a perfect analogy of like, are we focusing on, which most of us do, because we are so frightened and we don't even know we have an option to switch our focus, or that if we take our focus off the negative, we're going to be fine, that it's okay to focus on the good, right? Let's be normal and take care of business. But most of the time, 99.9% of the time, the things we fear, our imaginings, are not true. They're not going to come true. They never will. We are just in worry and in fear for no reason. And we are torturing ourselves. And we're continuing to attract more fear, more worry, more doubt. So you can't be successful or get rich if you send out unformed longings and vague desires. So treat your longings and your desires with the specificity and the focus that you do your fears and your worries. Let's practice that. I have to work on that all the time. Go over your desires just as the man I had described in the house. Get a mental picture as you wish your life to look. And what did he say? Okay, see just what you want and get a clear mental picture of it as you wish it looked when you get it. That you wish it would look when you get it. As the sailor has the port toward which he is sailing in his mind, you must have a clear mental picture continually in your mind. We have to know where we're going or we're drifting. A sailor, when they're headed somewhere, they know their coordinates, they know where they're going, they have a specific goal. That's what it is, a specific goal. And even in therapy, when I have a new client, it's like, what are our goals in therapy? We're not just here to chitty chat and be friends and spill the tea on all the gossip of our friends and our, dysfunctional family. Yes, we do that. But like, what are the goals? To reduce my anxiety, to feel joy again in my life, to lift myself out of this depression, to lessen my ruminations, to stop self-harming, to stop my addictive behaviors. That's the goal. If we don't have a goal, we are just shooting the breeze. And I don't like that, right? It's like I'm very goal-oriented because I know what it's like not to be, to drift, as Napoleon Hill says. We are either drifting with a goal. We are either focused and leading our lives with a goal, or we are drifting without any goals. And I would say most of the time we are drifting with very specific negative imaginings. And then we just keep drifting in that direction towards what we don't want, like drifting towards the tree, instead of being focused on the road that we want to go on. And I share this story often. Bob Proctor used this amazing analogy of this woman. We were in a master class and this woman shared her goal, and it was a big, long goal. And she wanted to know what Bob thought of it. And after that, she shared this huge life desire of all these things she wanted to do. And it was so epic. It was like 3 minutes, literally 3 full minutes of her just stream of conscious reading this whole vision that she had typed out of her life in every area. Then it was quiet. And Bob was going to say what he thought. And he goes, that's good. That's a beautiful vision of your life, but it's not specific enough. And we're all like, oh, that was so detailed. To us. It was so detailed. It was so like well thought out and like, wow. But Bob pointed out, it wasn't specific enough. Why do you want this big TV show? Why do you want to have, I think this woman said she wanted to be the Oprah of India. For what? She had this huge vision of what she was going to do, but like, what was it all for? Where was she headed? Like, it wasn't specific enough. And he said, it's like you're saying you want to go west. I want to have a big TV show. I want to have a big reach. I want to be the Oprah of India. I want to help young children. So, but it was like, are you going to build schools? Are you going to create programs? What are you going to do? Like, let's be specific. So he said it was the equivalent of saying, I want to go west. Well, where's west? How do you know when you get to west? You get to, say you're in New York, you get to Los Angeles, but you could keep going west, then go to Hawaii, then you can keep going west. French Polynesia, you could keep going west. Like, you can keep going around the world and you never know when you arrive. But he says, if you are going to 9000 West Sunset Boulevard, that's an address. That's a specific destination. You know when you get there. So that's why it's important to be specific with what you want. And then general with how that's going to happen, like the law of detachment. All you have to do is focus on what it is you want, how you get there. There's a million different ways. Okay. And you surrender that. And that's the hardest part. So as the sailor has the port toward which he is sailing in his mind, you must have a clear mental picture continually in your mind. So use that metaphor. You're a sailor setting out of port, taking that risk, taking that leap, starting that business. What do you want it to look like? Start somewhere. You must keep your face toward it at all time. You must no more lose sight of it than the steersman loses sight of the compass. It is not necessary to take exercise in concentration, nor to set apart special time for prayer and affirmation, nor to go into the silence, nor to do occult stunts of any kind. So there is no need to do all of these things that most of us do, right? Because we think I think we should do them just to keep our mindset focused, but we don't have to do them to make it happen. So he says, you don't have to do all these special things. These are well enough, but all you need is to know what you want and to want it enough so that it will stay in your thoughts. Just keep it on the front of your mind. Keep that image, know exactly what you want. Write it down, have a goal card, put it above your bed, put it on your nightstand, on your bathroom mirror. Just keep it in front of your face. Just have it memorized and go to it often. You don't have to set a special time aside or write it a million times. Some people do the 3-6-9, but that's a way to enforce them keeping at the front of their minds. But just keep it however you can at the forefront of your mind. All you have to do is want it enough so that it will stay in your thoughts. And I think about, we all have addictions. We all have things that are priority. Like if you love to go to the gym, that's a non-negotiable for you. When you wake up, it's at the forefront of your mind. It's just what you do. It's a part of your self-image. When I used to drink, drinking was, I didn't know consciously, but it was always at the forefront. Like, when am I going to go out? When am I going to go party? When am I going to go drink? Where am I going to get drinks with my friends? When am I going to go, just relax? That was always at the forefront of my mind. It was a goal. It was a negative goal, a very destructive goal that was a part of my self-image, who I was. But I had to break that. It was a very destructive, unconscious goal to escape. And so people that say, I'm not disciplined, I'm not focused. Yes, you are, just in the things that aren't serving you. You're very disciplined in watching your favorite shows, in gossiping or scrolling on social media. Like that, we do that automatically. It takes no effort. But it's just, we're addicted to escaping. Fill in the blank for yourself, right? We all have discipline and focus, but is it in the right direction? Is it constructive? How is it making you feel? All right. You must keep your face toward it at all time. It's not necessary to do all sorts of wild things. Those are all good, but all you need to do is to know what you want and want it enough so that it will stay in your thoughts. Spend as much of your leisure time as you can in contemplating your picture. Remember that you do not need to take exercises to concentrate your mind on a thing which you really want. It is the things that you do not really care about that require effort to fix your attention upon them. So that's why it's so important to really get in touch with something you really, 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 really want. It just automatically wells up in your belly, in your heart. And the fire is there. The fire is always there. Spend as much of okay, so we read that. Unless your desire to get rich is strong enough to hold your thoughts on the purpose, as the magnetic pole holds the needle to the compass of the compass, it will hardly be worthwhile for you to try to carry out the instructions given in this book. All right, let's read that again. Unless your desire to get rich is strong enough to hold your thoughts to the purpose, as the magnetic pole holds the needle of the compass, it will hardly be worthwhile for you to try to carry out the instructions given in this book. So how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to be rich? How bad do you want to be rich? Whatever that means to you, however much that means to you. Truly, it's different for some people want to be billionaires. I mean, that happens. Fabulous. But I do want to be a millionaire for sure. Like that is something that I truly want. Oh, for me, that just feels like a sense of freedom, of accomplishment, of autonomy, of agency, my ability to live the way I want. So I know that I want that for sure. Some people just want 6 figures, so it's different. So if you don't want it, this is really not going to work because you have to really have that burning desire. The methods I am presenting here are for people whose desires for riches is strong enough to overcome mental laziness and the love of ease. The more clear and definite you make your picture, and the more you dwell upon it, the stronger your desire will be. And the stronger your desire, the easier it will be to hold your mind fixed upon the picture of what you want. However, something more is necessary than merely seeing the picture clearly. If that is all you do, you are only a dreamer and will have little or no power for accomplishment. Ooh, let's read that again. He says, however, something more is necessary than merely seeing the picture clearly. If that is all you do, you are only a dreamer and will have little or no power for accomplishment. So I think he's getting to the point. You can't just think about it and see it here. You have to get emotionally involved. I think that's what he's going to say. Behind your clear vision must be the purpose to realize it, to bring it out in tangible expression. So mixed with your clear image must be the purpose, your why behind its accomplishment. Behind your clear vision, okay, the purpose in realizing it. And behind this purpose must be an invincible and unwavering faith that the thing is already yours, that it is at hand, and you have only to take possession of it. To really amp up that faith, to feel it already being yours. It just is taking a little bit of time to show up in your physical world. But when you know, it's like, that is going to be mine. If you've ever seen someone, you're like, I'm going to marry them or whatever, or I'm going to have that kind of dog. I just know it. I want to have a dress that looks like that. I want a car that looks like that. You just know. It's a matter of time. You don't even doubt it. You have full faith in yourself. So that's a feeling, a faith backed behind this image that you have. I remember I wanted that, my white Mustang convertible. I was 18 years old. Well, I wanted it since, I don't know, maybe I was like in 8th grade, I don't know when I started dreaming about that car, but I had it in my mind. I knew exactly what I wanted. I knew the spoiler that I wanted. I knew the color of the outside, the inside. Convertible. I knew the color of the top, everything. And I remember I used to go to, well, when I was looking for the car, I would go to the lot. I mean, I was 18. It cracks me up now that I think about it. I would go to the lots, like on my own, and say, I'm just looking. And of course, the car salesman would be like, well, what do you want? And I was like, I want this, this, and this, and this. And then I would tell them what I want it for, how much my budget was. And they would laugh me off the lot. And I'm like, I don't know why you're laughing. I'm going to get this. And I did. And so I wanted to go back and be like, look what I got. And it can come in different ways. I think the car that I got, it didn't have the spoiler, but I put it on. I ordered the spoiler and I had the body work done to get it put on, but I got what I wanted because I had it so clear in my image, in my mind, and I had faith that I would get it. Oh, so good. All right. So again, the picturing is just not enough. You have to have your why behind it. And behind your why and your purpose, you have to have an unwavering, invincible faith that it's already yours. Live in the new house mentally until it takes form around you physically. In the mental realm, enter at once into full enjoyment of the things you want. Whatsoever things ye ask for when ye pray, believe that ye receive them, and ye shall have them. See the things you want as if they were actually around you all the time. See yourself as owning and using them. Make use of them in imagination, just as you will use them when they are in your tangible possessions. All right, we will have part 2 of this, chapter 8, tomorrow, and we'll finish it. So it'll be in 2 parts. So this was part 1 of 2 of chapter 8, Thinking in a Certain Way, from Wallace D. Wattles' book, The Science of Getting Rich. Ah, so good. All right. We are learning how to think in a certain way, how to manifest, how to not only just picture on the screen of our mind of what we want, being specific, but why do we want it? What's our why behind it? And then beyond that, have full faith that it's ours already and act as if, as Neville Goddard says, live in the wish fulfilled, the state of the wish fulfilled. So that was lovely. Thank you all. This was a nice little reading. I hope you have a wonderful evening. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever you're at. Thank you so much for your love and support. If you have any questions, just reach out. All of my information is below. I have a lot of fun offerings, and I hope you join me. So let me know how I can support you. And I thank you again. I'll see you tomorrow.